Hi there, and welcome back to the History of Fleetwood Mac. I'm Anita. Today we're going to get into Volume 13, Episode 1 of my Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks scrapbooks. And we're starting off today with Behind the Mask, another favorite era, just because, as I mentioned, starting really with 87, this is really when I was coming in my own. I was starting to get to see them in concert and such like that. So as I had seen Fleetwood Mac in 1987, I definitely saw Fleetwood Mac twice, I believe, during Behind the Mask. Can't find ticket stubs pretty much since 1987. I think the first ticket stub that I still have from back in the day might be like 1994, which is really unfortunate because I had seen Fleetwood Mac in 87, Stevie in 89, and then Fleetwood Mac again twice in 1990 because I think that they started the tour in the Bay Area, went off for a while, and then came back. Then I saw Stevie again in 1991 for Time Space, and then Street Angel, and then I don't think I saw Fleetwood Mac again. I don't think I saw them again until 97, but it seems like there's something in between, but maybe it's just some Stevie shows. So anyway, but with Behind the Mask, again, I talked about it with the albums and such like that. I was really disappointed with Lindsay being gone. I kind of, dealt with it, what with Tango on the Night, but I liked Billy Burnett and Rick Vito a lot. I thought that they really brought a great sound, and I just kind of figured, Lindsay do his own thing, and he did. We had a solo album in 1993. Pardon me. We had the Out of the Cradle. We had already had Go Insane, but still. And just as long as he kept making music, I was kind of okay. Of course, I was super excited when he came back to Fleetwood Mac, but in the meantime, it just seemed okay. The other guys were there. They just seemed like a really good fit. I felt much better about that than I did with the replacement of Lindsay, much later on in time, just because I'd really gotten to love the whole band so much. But anyway, I'm going on and on. So starting off the video, this video, have that long box, which is really cool. And we've talked about the cover. I like the, again, I got some kind of, not some kickback from people who watch my videos on that, but I do respect and dig the story that this is trying to give. This is so representative of the band in such a way, but this is a great shot. And I think I would have rather had maybe artwork, kind of like Tango the Night, versus, a picture of other people, if that makes any sense. But I just have a different opinion of it. Sometimes I'm like, oh, this is really great. Other times I'm like, But love this long box. So there's that. This was a really cool thing. This was a really early page that I made, and I made it all special and fancy because of this one item that goes with it. I found this paper that's literally like corkboard, and I just thought it was so cool. And I, again, was kind of learning and thinking about scrapbooking in 1997, 98, thereabouts, with kind of putting together a theme and getting the idea before, again, the real big surgence of scrapbooking and all this particular materials that came out for scrapbooking. But I had somehow, I don't even remember, because I was pretty new on the internet, 97, 98, thereabouts, and I had gotten a hold of Rick Vito somehow, probably just through Facebook or something, and I wrote to him saying, hey, if I sent something to you, could you sign this? And he's like, yeah, like right away, replied right away. I got something out right away in the mail, and got it back like in no time at all. And just ever since then, Rick Vito is just up here. I mean, everybody in the band is so great, but Rick Vito, that just really, really just, it was so special to me. And I hadn't met anybody in the band yet. So even though I didn't meet him in person, it was still just really an honor to have that kind of correspondence with him and have him get something back. And I just thought what a great idea it would be to have the insert from the box set sent off to him. I had a couple of these, so I had an extra insert. And it's, it's nice paper. It's nice, kind of like a little mini lithograph. And he signed it up in the corner, maybe thinking there might be room for other people to sign someday, which, in a perfect world would have been a great idea. But I'll never forget this. And boy, when I got it back in the mail, I just couldn't believe my eyes. I really could not believe that he had sent that back. So this was really a special piece. But this is the whole page. Again, with that kind of neat corkboard and this tape I had found at like a dollar store, and early designs, early ideas, inspiration. this is a cool kind of an ad, getting those things, finding those things in magazines and such. Then I'm sure we've talked about the trading cards, which I also found this one, which I don't think I brought up during my Tusk video, but this is a really cool little trading card thing, and it came in this packet. I know I could take it out, the little screw out, but it's fine. Kind of dig it the way it is. This is a little trading card, and this was kind of neat. But there are a couple official Fleetwood Mac trading cards, and this is one of them. But this one came out in '79, and this one came out. These were superstars, and there was 2 or 3 of Fleetwood Mac, and then there was a handful of Stevie Nicks ones. So that was a really cool Fleetwood Mac one. Then a review on the album from People magazine, which was the best Mac songs, though, still belong to Stevie Nicks. So actually it's surprising because they usually, give her the worst part. Love is Dangerous, which she wrote with Vito. Freedom, written with Mike Campbell, and Affairs of the Heart. So, yeah, so they were kind of actually fond of that, so, which is surprising. That's kind of a nice thing. Nice when you come across things like that. Again, an old page. This was kind of just a combination of stuff that I had from magazines. We've already gone over the Mick Fleetwood wedding, but this was out of Rolling Stone magazine showing Chris and Lindsay, Stevie, and Jeff Lynne from ELO. A review of the album from, I want to say this is like Us Magazine or one of those, Entertainment Weekly, and they got a C, whatever that is. This is kind of cool. I don't know where this came out of, but a catalog of some kind. And that necklace, that's a necklace around the picture of Stevie that was being auctioned as purportedly a necklace having belonged to Stevie. And that wasn't like Winco or Gotta Have Rock and Roll or something. This is some other really kind of random website, and I don't recall where it was, but I just clipped the picture because I thought both the picture and the necklace were unique. Not sure that it was hers. She's certainly not wearing it in the photo, obviously. It looks like something that could have been from around that time, but, it's certainly nothing I've seen her wearing. But that means nothing. As we all know, a lot of stuff that came from her mom's store she had in her possession, but didn't necessarily ever wear. So technically she owned it, but she never wore it. So set that back before I forget later. Some really nice pictures. This one, which you've seen everywhere, which is an outtake of this one here. But a nice shot of it, a nice clear shot, not something from a magazine or something like that. The real photo, as is this here. Now I can't remember if this one or the ones on the other page, but it was so funny because when I got these, and I got them a long time ago off of eBay or from Kane or something like that, I'm not sure. But they're things that I had, and I just assumed that they were part of the tour book. And I've gone to look back since and come to find that one or a couple of these are not in the tour book. They're similar photos, but they are not these ones. This might have been one of them. Or it could have been one of these. Hard to say. It's a great photo of Stevie here. They all are, but I really, again, I think I mentioned this with in Tango the Night when I mentioned different pictures of Stevie looking so representative of the Stevie style and that kind of the persona that she gives on stage. And it's so funny because here we are again with yet a whole entirely different look. This is kind of like country chic, modern country chic, and it's still 100% so Stevie. I mean, even though it's a studio session photograph, she could totally take the stage in this and totally rock the whole Stevie Nicks vibe. I absolutely love it. Love the hat. Love the hair. Great picture of Billy as well. Here was a article from, not sure, just a the Wenatchee World, Thursday, May 24th, 1990. So kind of unique, a different article. Unfortunately, a common picture. This was out of, I think, Rolling Stone magazine. Then you have some of these kind of more, like I joked if you saw in some of my prior videos, the kind of I call phantom photos. Just a bunch of little things. These could still be from 1987. They're just kind of fillers because I had them for so long and just put them in wherever I could. Although the ones you've seen prior were mostly of Stevie. A lot of these are Chris and other members of the band. There's still some Stevie ones here, though, obviously. More, I think the remainder of this article, I think, is on the back here. And then again, just a lot of really just small little excerpts for Behind the Mask, many different magazines and such. These are 2 real passes, though. It's so funny. Squeeze. I vaguely remember Squeeze opening for Fleetwood Mac, and because I'm pretty sure one or both shows that I had seen were with Squeeze, because I do believe they stayed with Fleetwood Mac the entire way. And many years later, and I'm talking many years later, it's a long story, which I will totally not bore you with, but possibly my all-time most favorite song is called Tempted, which is by the band Squeeze. And the thought that I possibly heard that live, because I'm sure it was one of their biggest hits, really bums me out that I don't really recall that. And I've never seen the band since. I would like to, but that song, it's very special to me. There's a whole story, the convoluted, dumb, boring story, but for me, it's very personal. And it's just so funny because I was, vaguely familiar with them, but just, not like I should have been, or certainly would like to have been now. So, seeing them was just very fleeting. The Hooters actually stand out more, and I was probably way less into them. I like them, but way less into them than I am Squeeze. So it's just kind of a funny, bummer funny. These photos were given to me by Alicia Bailey. I'm 90% sure she did not take them. Maybe I'm wrong. Now I feel real bad because I asked her if it was okay to share them. But yeah, these were some really cool photos, and really nice to have some live photos of Stevie from that time. I mean, there are many, but these were just a really unique. And I should have asked her, because I'm sure she's told me where they're from, what date and when they were from, but I don't see. That's really odd that I wouldn't have written it down. So maybe she didn't. I'm sure she did, though. Continuing with those here, be our last page here. This was really cool. I thinking she bought these in the negative possibly and had a set made up for me is possibly what it could have been. I love that she's wearing the short dress. And then back to the corset and skirt she wore a lot during Tango on the Night and into Time Space. This one's really nice too. That's a little bit blurry, but still a really cool shot. Great stage shot. So that'll do it for this volume. We've got plenty more coming up. So hopefully if you like Behind the Mask, more to come. And thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Hope everybody has a great night. Bye.